September 24th, 1944. Dawn broke reluctantly over the rolling hills near Arracourt, France. The morning fog hung thick and motionless, a grey shroud that reduced visibility to mere yards. Inside the cramped steel confines of an M4 Sherman tank designated Fury's Revenge, Staff Sergeant James Marcus Thompson listened to the distant rumble of approaching German armour. The Continental R975 radial engine beneath him idled quietly, its 9 cylinders maintaining a steady heartbeat that had carried his crew through 3 months of combat across the European theatre. Thompson pressed his ear against the hull, filtering out the familiar sounds of his own machine to detect something far more dangerous moving through the mist. The fog that morning was not merely weather, it was destiny wrapped in moisture and silence. For the German tank crews of the 111th Panzer Brigade advancing through the Lorraine countryside, the thick blanket of vapor represented tactical superiority. Their Panther AUSF-G tanks, weighing 45 tons each, and armed with the devastating 7.5 cm caliber WK-42 L-70 cannon, could engage and destroy American armor at ranges exceeding 1,500 meters. The fog would force close-quarters combat, where German engineering excellence and superior armor protection would prove decisive, or so they believed. Thompson's Sherman, by comparison, was a mechanical underdog in every measurable category. Weighing 33 tons and protected by armor no thicker than 76 millimeters at its strongest point, the M4 relied on mobility, reliability, and crew training rather than raw firepower. Its 75 millimeters M3 L40 gun could penetrate German armor only at point-blank range, and only when striking vulnerable areas. American tank doctrine emphasized speed and coordination over individual tank superiority, a philosophy that German panzer crews had learned to exploit throughout the European campaign. The Wehrmacht had developed a particular contempt for American armor by September 1944. German tank crews had nicknamed the Sherman Tommy Cooker and Ronson Leiter, references to its tendency to catch fire when penetrated. This psychological advantage was as valuable as any technical specification. German commanders expected American tank crews to withdraw or seek air support when confronted by superior armor, tactics that had proven effective during the summer fighting in Normandy and the advance through northern France. Thompson had witnessed this dynamic firsthand during the breakthrough at Avranches and the subsequent pursuit across France. His division, the 4th Armored, had earned recognition as one of General George S. Patton's most effective units, but individual tank engagements against German heavy armor remained problematic. Standard doctrine called for multiple Shermans to engage a single Panther from various angles, accepting the loss of 1 or 2 American tanks to achieve a single German kill. This arithmetic of attrition wore heavily on crews who understood that their survival depended more on luck and tactics than superior equipment. The morning of September 24th presented a different equation entirely. The weather had reduced the German technological advantage to nearly zero while creating opportunities for unconventional tactics. Thompson recognized this immediately as his crew prepared for what appeared to be another routine patrol along the American advance toward Metz. Intelligence reports indicated scattered German resistance ahead, but nothing to suggest the presence of heavy armor. The fog suggested otherwise to Thompson's experienced ear. As Fury's Revenge crept forward through the mist, Thompson detected the unmistakable sound signature of German tanks moving in formation approximately 800 meters to his northeast. The deep, powerful rumble of Maybach HL-230 engines was distinctly different from the higher-pitched noise produced by American radial engines. More significantly, the mechanical precision of German transmissions created a rhythmic pattern that trained ears could identify at considerable distances. Thompson counted at least 4 distinct engine signatures, possibly 5, moving with the coordinated precision that indicated veteran crews. The tactical situation crystallized with brutal clarity. His single Sherman faced multiple German tanks in fog-shrouded terrain that negated traditional American advantages in air support and coordinated maneuver. Radio communication with supporting units was intermittent due to the weather and terrain. Artillery support was unavailable due to the proximity of friendly forces and the fluid nature of the front lines. Thompson faced a decision that would define not only his crew's survival, but potentially influence the broader tactical situation in the Arracourt sector. German confidence in the morning engagement was absolute. Obergefreiter Klaus Richter, commanding the lead Panther of the advancing formation, had served on the Eastern Front for 2 years, before his transfer to Army Group G in France. His experience against Soviet T-34 tanks had taught him to respect enemy numbers but not individual enemy capabilities. American Shermans, in his assessment, were inferior to Soviet armor in both firepower and crew training. The fog would force the Americans into close-range duels where German technical superiority would prove decisive within minutes. Richter's tactical approach reflected standard German doctrine for engaging American armor in reduced visibility conditions. His formation would advance in line abreast formation, maintaining visual contact between vehicles while presenting maximum firepower to the front. Each Panther carried 82 rounds of 75mm ammunition, including armor-piercing rounds capable of penetrating any known American tank at combat ranges. The fog would conceal their approach until the final moments, when devastating firepower would eliminate American resistance before effective return fire could be delivered. The psychology of tank combat in 1944 demanded absolute confidence in one's equipment and crew. German tank crews had been trained to view their Panthers as the finest tanks in the world, superior to any Allied armor in protection, firepower, and mechanical reliability. This confidence was not entirely misplaced. The Panther's frontal armor was virtually impermeable to American tank guns, while its own cannon could destroy a Sherman with a single well-placed shot. The mathematical advantage was overwhelming under normal tactical conditions. Thompson understood these calculations as well as any German tank commander. His survival depended on changing the fundamental parameters of the engagement before it began. As Fury's revenge moved through the fog-shrouded landscape, Thompson made a decision that violated every principle of American tank doctrine. He ordered his driver to stop the engine and his crew to remain absolutely silent. The Continental R975 engine coughed once and fell silent. The sudden absence of mechanical noise was jarring after months of continuous engine operation. Thompson could hear his own heartbeat and the breathing of his 4 crew members in the confined space. More importantly, he could now hear the German formation with perfect clarity. The Panthers were advancing directly toward his position, their engines growing louder with each passing minute. American tank training emphasized aggressive maneuver and rapid engagement. The M4 Sherman was designed for mobility and speed, not defensive ambush tactics. Thompson's decision to remain stationary contradicted fundamental principles of American armored warfare, but it also created an opportunity that German crews would not anticipate. By eliminating his own engine noise, Thompson transformed his Sherman from a mobile gun platform into a silent hunter. The first Panther emerged from the fog at a range of 200 meters, its massive bulk clearly visible through Thompson's periscope. The German tank was moving at approximately 15 kilometers per hour, its commander's cupola open for better visibility in the restricted conditions. Thompson could see the crew commander scanning the terrain ahead, apparently unaware that he was being observed. The Panther's cannon was traversed slightly to the left, covering the most likely avenue of American approach. Thompson's gunner, Corporal Michael O'Brien, had already identified the target and was tracking its movement through his telescopic sight. The Sherman's 75mm gun was loaded with armor-piercing ammunition, the best available option against German heavy armor. At 200 meters range, penetration of the Panther's frontal armor remained problematic, but side shots offered significantly better possibilities for successful engagement. The tactical calculation required perfect timing. Thompson needed the German tank to present its flank while remaining unaware of the Sherman's presence. This demanded that the Panther continue its current course, while Fury's revenge remained undetected. Any premature movement or noise would alert the German crew and trigger an engagement under unfavorable conditions. Thompson waited, his crew maintaining absolute silence as the enemy tank approached their position. German tactical doctrine in fog conditions emphasized methodical advance and systematic terrain clearance. Richter's Panther was following established procedures, moving at reduced speed while maintaining formation integrity with other vehicles. The crew was alert, but not alarmed. American resistance throughout the sector had been minimal, and intelligence reports suggested that enemy armor was withdrawing toward Metz. The fog was inconvenient, but not dangerous in the absence of significant enemy forces. The moment of engagement arrived without warning. Thompson's driver, acting on hand signals to avoid voice commands, engaged the starter and brought the Continental engine to life. The sudden noise startled the German crew, but their response was predictably methodical. The Panther began traversing its turret toward the sound while simultaneously attempting to identify the threat. This rotation presented exactly the target profile that Thompson required. O'Brien fired at a range of 150 meters, targeting the junction between the Panther's turret and hull. The 75mm armor-piercing round struck with tremendous impact, penetrating the side armor and detonating inside the fighting compartment. The explosion was muffled but decisive. Secondary ammunition fires began immediately, sending pillars of flame through the German tank's vision blocks and hatches. The Panther's forward motion continued for several meters before the vehicle ground to a halt, its crew presumed killed or incapacitated. The destruction of the first German tank created both opportunity and immediate danger. The remaining Panthers in the formation would investigate the engagement, potentially converging on Thompson's position within minutes. However, the fog continued to provide concealment, while the burning German tank served as a reference point for navigation. Thompson ordered his driver to maneuver immediately, seeking a new firing position before the enemy could coordinate a response. American tank doctrine emphasized the principle of shoot and scoot, engaging targets briefly before relocating to avoid return fire. Thompson applied this principle with modifications suited to the fog conditions. Instead of rapid movement to distant positions, he executed short advances that kept his tank within effective range while preventing German crews from predicting his location. Each movement was calculated to maintain acoustic deception while positioning for subsequent engagements. The second Panther appeared through the fog approximately 3 minutes after the first engagement. This tank was moving more cautiously, its commander clearly aware that American armor was present in the immediate area. The German crew was scanning methodically, seeking targets while maintaining readiness for immediate engagement. Their advanced position relative to the rest of the formation indicated aggressive leadership and experienced crew training. Thompson recognized the increased threat level immediately. This German commander was adapting to the tactical situation rather than following predictable procedures. The Panther's movement patterns suggested systematic terrain clearance rather than simple advance toward an objective. This required a different approach, one that exploited German expectations rather than their mechanical procedures. The Sherman remained motionless as the Panther approached, its crew maintaining absolute silence. Thompson calculated that the German tank would pass within 50 meters of his position if its current course remained unchanged. At that range, even a side shot would be devastating against German armor, while return fire would be impossible if the engagement was executed properly. The tactical advantage belonged entirely to the hidden American tank. The engagement occurred at 47 meters range, with O'Brien firing directly into the Panther's engine compartment. The armor-piercing round penetrated cleanly, triggering immediate mechanical failure and probable crew casualties. Unlike the first kill, this German tank did not catch fire immediately, but its engine ceased operation and the vehicle coasted to a stop. Thompson ordered immediate relocation before investigating whether the crew had survived the initial impact. German response to the second engagement revealed improved tactical adaptation. Radio communications between surviving Panthers indicated awareness that they faced a single American tank employing unconventional tactics. German crews were now moving with increased caution, using coordinated advances designed to eliminate hiding positions systematically. The fog continued to limit visibility, but German commanders were adapting their procedures to account for American presence. Thompson faced a critical decision regarding continuation of the engagement. Standard doctrine suggested withdrawal and coordination with supporting American forces for a conventional attack against the remaining German tanks. However, the fog conditions that enabled his initial success were temporary. Weather reports indicated clearing within 2 hours. Prolonging the engagement risked exposure to superior German firepower under improved visibility conditions, but withdrawal would allow German forces to consolidate and potentially threaten American advance elements. The decision was influenced by intelligence regarding German intentions in the Arracourt sector. Enemy forces were attempting to establish defensive positions that could delay American advance towards by several weeks. Eliminating German armor in this area would prevent establishment of these positions and maintain momentum of Patton's advance into the German heartland. The strategic implications justified accepting tactical risks that might otherwise be unacceptable. The third engagement demonstrated German adaptation to American tactics. The approaching Panther was moving in coordination with at least one other tank, maintaining mutual support while advancing through the fog. German crews were using engine noise discipline to reduce their acoustic signature while employing coordinated observation to maximize detection capabilities. These modifications indicated veteran crew training and experienced leadership at the tactical level. Thompson responded by introducing additional variables into his tactical approach. Instead of remaining stationary between engagements, he began using the fog to approach German positions actively. This reversed the traditional hunter-prey relationship, transforming the Sherman from a defensive ambush platform into an offensive stalking vehicle. The psychological impact on German crews would be significant if successful, but the risks were correspondingly greater. The Sherman approached the third German tank from an unexpected angle, using terrain features and wreckage from previous engagements to mask its approach. Thompson's crew maintained absolute noise discipline while maneuvering to within 75 meters of the target. At this range, the 75mm gun could penetrate German armor from almost any angle, while German return fire would be impossible due to surprise and proximity. O'Brien's third shot struck the Panthers' ammunition storage area, triggering a catastrophic explosion that sent the turret completely clear of the hull. The detonation was visible through the fog at considerable distance, serving as both a tactical success and a warning to remaining German forces. Secondary explosions continued for several minutes as stored ammunition cooked off in the intense heat of the burning tank. German tactical response to the third loss indicated approaching panic among surviving crews. Radio communications intercepted by American intelligence units suggested that German commanders were considering withdrawal from the engagement area. However, tactical doctrine and unit pride prevented immediate retreat, leading to increasingly desperate attempts to locate and destroy the American tank responsible for their losses. The fourth engagement occurred under different conditions as the fog began to thin slightly. Improved visibility created both opportunities and dangers for Thompson's crew. The Sherman could now observe German tanks at greater distances, potentially allowing longer-range engagements with reduced risk. However, German crews could also detect the Sherman more easily, negating the acoustic advantages that had enabled the previous successes. Thompson adapted his tactics to account for changing visibility conditions. Instead of close-range stalking, he positioned the Sherman at maximum effective range and waited for German movements that would present favorable target profile. This approach required greater precision in gunnery, but reduced exposure to German return fire. The psychological pressure on German crews remained intense as they continued to face an apparently invisible enemy. The fourth Panther was destroyed at a range of 220 meters while attempting to coordinate with the final surviving tank in the German formation. O'Brien's shot penetrated the lighter rear armor, causing immediate mechanical failure and probable crew casualty. Unlike previous engagements, this German tank crew abandoned their vehicle immediately, recognizing that continued resistance was futile under the tactical conditions. The final engagement represented the culmination of Thompson's tactical innovation under extreme conditions. The surviving German tank was now aware of the Sherman's general location and was maneuvering aggressively to achieve a firing solution. German crew training and equipment advantages remained significant, but psychological factors had shifted decisively in favor of the American tank. The hunter had become the hunted, then become the hunter again. Thompson positioned his Sherman for the final engagement with careful attention to both terrain and visibility conditions. The fog continued to provide partial concealment, but direct visual contact was now possible at combat ranges. This engagement would likely determine not only the outcome of the morning's fighting, but also the tactical situation throughout the Arracourt sector for the remainder of the day. The final Panther approached with obvious desperation, its commander apparently committed to close-range engagement regardless of tactical disadvantages. German tank doctrine emphasized aggressive action when faced with adverse conditions, a principle that had served effectively on the Eastern Front, but proved problematic against Thompson's unconventional tactic. The approaching tank represented the last German armor threat in the immediate area. O'Brien fired at 180 meters range, targeting the Panther's frontal armor with a perfectly placed shot that struck just below the main gun mantlet. The armor-piercing round penetrated cleanly, causing immediate catastrophic damage to the fighting compartment. The German tank coasted forward for several meters before grinding to a halt, its crew killed or incapacitated by the penetration and subsequent internal explosion. The engagement concluded as fog continued to lift across the Arracourt battlefield. Thompson's crew had destroyed 5 German Panthers in approximately 45 minutes of combat, achieving a tactical success that would influence American armor doctrine for the remainder of the war. The psychological impact on German forces throughout the sector was immediate and significant, contributing to withdrawal decisions that maintained momentum of American advance operations. Post-engagement analysis by American intelligence officers revealed the innovative nature of Thompson's tactical approach. The use of acoustic deception and fog conditions to achieve tactical surprise represented adaptation to local conditions rather than application of standard doctrine. This flexibility demonstrated the effectiveness of American crew training and the importance of individual initiative in combat operations. German after-action reports captured after the war provided insight into enemy perspectives on the engagement. German commanders attributed their losses to superior American numbers and air support, unable to accept that a single Sherman tank had achieved such decisive results. This psychological denial reflected broader German inability to adapt to changing tactical conditions during the final phase of the European campaign. The strategic implications of the Arracourt engagement extended beyond immediate tactical results. German defensive plans for the Lorraine region depended on mobile armor reserves that could respond rapidly to American breakthrough attempts. The destruction of 5 Panthers in a single engagement eliminated a significant portion of available German armor in the sector, contributing to subsequent American success in advancing toward Metz. Thompson's crew received recognition for their achievement through official commendations and unit citations. However, the broader significance of their tactical innovation was not immediately recognized by higher command levels. American armored doctrine continued to emphasize numerical superiority and coordinated attacks rather than individual initiative and unconventional tactics. The fog that enabled Thompson's success was itself a product of specific meteorological conditions that occurred infrequently during the autumn campaign in France. Weather reports from September 1944 indicate that similar fog conditions occurred only 3 times during the month, making Thompson's tactical adaptation both brilliant and unrepeatable under normal circumstances. Engineering analysis of the engagement revealed important lessons about American and German tank capabilities under specific conditions. The M4 Sherman's mobility and crew training advantages proved decisive when technological disparities were minimized by environmental factors. This suggested potential for American success in other tactical situations where German technical advantages could be neutralized. The psychological impact of the engagement on both American and German forces was profound and lasting. American tank crews throughout the 4th Armored Division gained confidence in their ability to engage German heavy armor successfully under appropriate conditions. German crews became increasingly cautious and defensive, reducing their tactical effectiveness during subsequent operations. Intelligence reports from the period indicate that German commanders began overestimating American armored capabilities based on engagements like Arracourt. This intelligence failure contributed to defensive decisions that favored American offensive operations throughout the autumn campaign. The psychological victory achieved by Thompson's crew thus had strategic implications far beyond the immediate tactical situation. The technical lessons learned from the engagement influenced American tank development and doctrine for the remainder of the war and beyond. The importance of crew training, tactical flexibility, and environmental awareness became central themes in post-war armored development programs. Thompson's success demonstrated that superior technology could be overcome through superior tactics and crew performance. Weather conditions during the engagement were recorded in detail by military meteorologists, contributing to understanding of how environmental factors influence armored combat operation. The fog density, duration, and dissipation patterns became reference data for planning future operations under similar conditions. This scientific approach to tactical analysis reflected American emphasis on systematic learning from combat experience. The engagement also highlighted the importance of individual initiative within American military culture. Thompson's decision to violate standard doctrine in favor of tactical adaptation reflected training that emphasized flexible thinking and aggressive leadership. This cultural factor proved crucial throughout the European campaign, contributing to American success against technically superior German equipment. German prisoners captured in subsequent operations provided additional insight into enemy perspectives on the Arracourt engagement. Many German tank crews expressed reluctance to operate in fog conditions, fearing encounters with American tanks employing similar tactics. This psychological impact reduced German tactical effectiveness during weather conditions that had previously favored their operation. The destruction of 5 Panthers by a single Sherman became legendary within American armored units, inspiring similar tactical innovation throughout the European theater. However, attempts to replicate Thompson's success under different conditions proved largely unsuccessful, emphasizing the unique nature of the tactical situation and environmental conditions that enabled his achievement. American industrial production capabilities enabled replacement of individual tank losses within weeks, while German manufacturing constraints made each Panther loss strategically significant. Thompson's success thus contributed to the broader war of attrition that ultimately determined the outcome of the European campaign. Individual tactical achievements accumulated into strategic advantage through American industrial superiority. The engagement demonstrated the continued relevance of crew training and tactical innovation, despite technological advancement in armored warfare. While newer tanks with superior firepower and protection were entering service throughout 1944, the human factors of leadership, training, and tactical adaptation remained decisive under specific conditions. This lesson influenced American military development programs for decades following the war. Historical analysis of the engagement reveals broader themes about adaptation and innovation under extreme conditions. Thompson's crew faced seemingly impossible tactical odds, but achieved success through creative application of available resources and environmental conditions. This pattern of American innovation under pressure characterized successful operations throughout the European. As the fog finally lifted completely over the Arracourt battlefield that September morning, the full scope of Thompson's achievement became visible to advancing American forces. 5 destroyed German Panthers lay scattered across the terrain, victims of tactical innovation that transformed environmental disadvantage into decisive advantage. The psychological impact on both American and German forces would influence combat operations throughout the sector for the remainder of the autumn campaign. The legacy of the engagement extended far beyond the immediate tactical results. Thompson's tactical innovation demonstrated the continuing importance of individual leadership and crew training in an era of increasingly sophisticated military technology. His success proved that superior equipment could be overcome through superior tactics, training, and adaptation to local conditions. In the broader context of World War II, the Arracourt engagement represented the maturation of American armored capabilities, from the early disasters of North Africa to the tactical sophistication that characterized operations in Western Europe. Individual crews like Thompson's embodied the learning process that transformed the American military from peacetime inexperience to wartime excellence within 3 years of entering the conflict. The morning of September 24, 1944, near Arracourt, France, thus became a testament to the power of individual initiative, tactical adaptation, and environmental awareness in determining combat outcomes. One Sherman crew's innovative response to challenging conditions achieved results that exceeded the capabilities of their equipment through superior application of human intelligence, training, and courage. What lessons from Thompson's tactical innovation remain relevant for modern military operations? How do environmental factors continue to influence combat outcomes despite technological advancement? These questions remind us that warfare remains fundamentally human, regardless of technological sophistication. The courage and innovation demonstrated by Thompson's crew deserve our remembrance and respect. Their achievement represents the finest traditions of American military service, turning disadvantage into victory through intelligence, training, and determination. If this story of tactical brilliance and individual courage has moved you, please consider subscribing and sharing this video to honor the memory of those who served with such distinction. Their legacy of innovation and sacrifice continues to inspire new generations of Americans facing their own challenges with creativity and resolve.